So ever since Newcastle picked up a draw against Manchester City in 2019-20, the last 5 meetings, the aggregate score hasn't been great. 23. That is hilarious. Is it all going to change, though? Because this feels like a new Newcastle. They have pretty much, 70% of a new squad. Do you think that something exciting could be happening? And is there any way that we can derail Man City, or is it just going to be really boring this year?
I've got a huge hunch. Sunday, 4:30, it's going to kick off. I think Newcastle are waiting for that moment where they beat a City or a Liverpool at home. It erupts at St. James's Park. That will be like, we're now in the big time. We are in that group of teams that should be getting talked about, and we're not. I thought they were really good against Brighton, and Brighton were also really good. I think the two of the most attractive teams to watch so far this season. They won that opening game as well, but they look composed. You know, when you get loads of new players, like Forest a little bit, it's a bit disjointed. It's a bit, who's doing what? Who's the guy? Who's the main player you're going to give it to? With Newcastle, it's very fluid. Credit to Eddie Howe. They've kept Callum Wilson fit as well, so they've got the goals, and he will absolutely terrorise City on the counter, because he is a nuisance to come up against. Then you've got St. Maximin, who adds that extra flair. The main man is Bruno Guimaraes, and you cannot stop this guy. He's technically a wizard. He can pick passes for fun. If I pinpoint a player that I go, I felt like I knew a lot about him, and then when I watched him play, and I was like, you are everything I thought you were times 5. City are going to get a shock. I remember when back in the days, you go to St. James's Park.
You were right.
Honestly, I'm feeling it so much for Newcastle.
Can someone clip this up, right? And so Monday morning when it's been 6-0, whatever it was, 78% possession.
Honestly.
I was just keeping my peace.
Let him go.
At the start of the season, when I saw the fixtures come out, I was like, that's the one. That fixture, Newcastle are going to cook. If it goes wrong, don't clip this up, I beg. I've got a feeling.
Nah, it's too soon. It's too soon. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think Newcastle are a different team. That 20-3 on aggregate is just, that's the old Newcastle.
Yeah. How good are they then?
They're very good. I mean, I expect them to be top 7, top 6.
Really?
Contender. Yeah, I think the cohesion is there. The confidence is there. That's a massive thing with Newcastle United down the years. I mean, when the fans walk into St. James's Park expecting goals, expecting victories, they always want it, but this time they expect it, right? And I think they have a squad at the moment that is feeling the juice a little bit. Eddie Howe has changed things. That lift of Mike Ashley no longer being the owner, a different style of football. Obviously, it wasn't very popular under Steve Bruce, of course. That weight being lifted off their shoulder, you can still see it. It's almost like the end of last season, right? The first couple of games, I haven't seen a major change, other than they feel like they should be going out there every single week and competing to win the match. I mean, compared to the team that was bottom of the league at the start of the year and looking like they were dead cert for relegation, it's a totally different Newcastle United. I just, let's be respectful to Manchester City. They are on another level. It's not going to be an easy game for them by any stretch of the imagination. I think Newcastle could win. I'm not even saying that it's like Newcastle could win the game, but I'm saying that it's not necessarily the moment that ignites the new Newcastle United that's going to be a Champions League, not just qualifying team, but winning team. I think we're at least 18 months, 2 years away from that, and a few more very good transfers. At this point in time, I see a team, better than the likes of Manchester United, better than the likes of West Ham and what we've seen already this season. They get bodies into the box. There's a commitment to scoring goals. That is, like you say, credit to Eddie Howe. That defence is absolutely fantastic. What is it, 1.4 XG conceded thus far, right up there, top 2, I think, in the Premier League so far. The defensive signings have been as good as the ones that they've got in the midfield and the forward areas, and there's more to come. I just think, this weekend, playing Manchester City, a confident Manchester City as well, just finding their way with Erling Haaland, but ultimately still a very high-class outfit. It's going to be a little bit too much. Look, it could be, listen, it's just a little bit too soon for me.
Yeah, the sort of this is Man City finding their way then, is it? I would love to sit in a space here of optimism, but it's been taken by you two. You seem to be seeing something I'm not here. You talk about their expected goals against. They are second, which is great. Man City are first with 0.5. Their control of football matches, it's bordering on boring at this point because they are so utterly dominant. No doubt it's elite. I have incredible praise for them. But this Man City side is outrageous. The only thing that gives Newcastle a chance for me is the fact that it's at St James's and the crowd. But
It's a madhouse, St James's Park.
But I wonder,
anything can happen.
I wonder 20 minutes in that Newcastle have had 5 touches by that point.
City have played
Start
West
to
Ham
fall
and
away.
Bournemouth. So that's a bit of
West Ham,
context
who
there.
are expected to finish 7th this year.
Yeah, but West Ham also just lost to Forest. So that expectation we
Which
had,
they should have won. In play that 9 times, they win 10 times, they win 9.
but they didn't know. So
Okay.
that's the fact.
That feels
they
like
didn't.
results bias. Okay.
I think I see what you're saying. I think it's very easy to go. I'm on the optimistic side. It's
I'm
very
pleased that you're there.
Yeah,
I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's very easy to go, City are just going to win every game because it's so easy to see that because of how dominant they are. But they do take their foot off the gas against teams when they really shouldn't. Like Newcastle is a sort of game where they're probably going, well, we just did it to West Ham. We just battered Bournemouth. We don't concede many chances. This is our game to go. But I don't think it's going to be just like that. Newcastle are very different to the other 2 teams they've played.
Listen, if you go 1-0 down at St James's Park, which they easily could, it's a very long afternoon for Manchester City, unfortunately. 1-0 up, 2-0 up, you can control the game. That happens to them against most teams, hence the stats, right? But ultimately, you go away to St James's Park, it might be a set piece, might be a counter-attack. I don't see... Listen, if Newcastle score first, all I'm saying is, wow, the crowd goes up. The players have that added motivation. There's a little bit extra bite in all of those tackles because ultimately they're smelling this success at Newcastle. It's tangible to them. They're almost there. Just like Nubaid, they're just waiting for that game that could ignite things. So, you know, to beat Manchester City at home, like I say, that's one that they will have dreamt of. It could be tricky for Manchester City. Look, they can dominate possession all they want. It's about the scoreline.
Final question. In a word, I just want a name, okay? You've got to put your mortgage on who scores the first goal in this game. Who are you going for? Who are you going for?
What an awful question.
Who are you going for?
question.
It's Erling Haaland. The guy
Yeah.
scores a goal every game and he
Yeah.
didn't score in the last one, so he's going to be really annoyed and he's going to score loads. Man City win this game, okay? I like it. I can't see it.
No, I think Haaland will probably score. he will probably score. And look, the only thing that you said it a little bit earlier on about it being a transitional. I think I said it was a transitional at Manchester City. It is. They're still working out that they have to play for one person and one person only. And it's when it clicks, it looks absolutely beautiful, and that's how he's got his goals so far, and he makes great runs, and De Bruyne can play those beautiful passes. When it clicks, it's brilliant. But if that doesn't click, they're left passing the ball around the other 10 players. If he's a little bit disassociated from the rest of the team, a little bit isolated, if that happens, their forward line hasn't yet been through that with Haaland in the team. So they haven't been through any adversity with him. They haven't found a plan B with him in the team yet. They haven't needed to. So if they need to find the plan B, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It could be a tricky afternoon. We haven't seen any adversity yet.
We end the video with your answer to my question. What's the answer?
Callum Wilson.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.